Back in October of 2018, the world's leading climate scientists met in South Korea and released a terrifying report. It warned that the world has until the year 2030 to limit the increase in temperature due to global warming to 1.5 degrees. If this goal isn't met, not only would this lead to an increase in storms, droughts, and wildfires, but the consequences of the rise in temperature would wipe out half of the world's biodiversity and lead to Earth's sixth mass extinction.
I think climate change is one of the biggest problems facing mankind today.
Climate scientist and professor of geosciences at the University of Edinburgh, Professor Roy Thompson has been teaching and studying the climate since 1973.
CO2 emissions just continue. There's no sign whatsoever that the world is getting to grips with reducing carbon dioxide emissions, so concentrations rise, and we're seeing that temperatures in the atmosphere and the ocean are continuing to rise. I think that message has got through to people that actually we need to get on with it, and the monitoring that we can do with satellites, with buoys in the oceans, temperature measurements on land, are showing that really at the moment we're having very little effect.
So with now just 11 years left to remedy this ecological crisis, why hasn't this report been at the forefront of every media network worldwide? With pop culture and controversial topics such as Brexit and President Trump dominating the headlines, it makes the public question, has there been enough media coverage of this potential climate extinction?
I've been writing about environment and climate change for decades, and the way I see it, the amount of attention that the media gives to things kind of ebbs and flows, right? And sometimes it gives it a lot, and sometimes it gives it a little. And that's partly to do with the rather random way in which the media works, so what's news one week is not news the next.
Climate activist groups such as Extinction Rebellion have decided to take matters into their own hands by protesting and bringing awareness of this apocalyptic threat. Here they are protesting outside of Northcliffe House in London.
Welcome the alternative media, because apart from the establishment media, there is an alternative media, which ordinary people all across the world are now developing in resistance to the big Nazi fascistic type of lies you find in the establishment media organ.
From how people are behaving, you wouldn't realise that they knew. People are dying, animals are extinct, rivers are drying up, and no one listens.
Northcliffe House is the headquarters to some of the most prominent media companies in the UK. The Independent, the Daily Mail, the Mail on Sunday, and the Evening Standard are all based there.
And in the United Kingdom, every single Prime Minister for the last 40 years has been backed by Rupert Murdoch. That is the power of our media and the power of the oligarchic press.
So we want the media to really portray the image of climate change and a climate emergency and a climate ecological emergency is what Extinction Rebellion says, because it's really a whole ecological crisis that's happening as well as climate changing.
In the three media markets that Murdoch operates in, the United States, the United Kingdom and Australia have the lowest support of the public for climate action on the emergency. That is not an accident. Murdoch has been pumping out anti-climate action, anti-environmental action, propaganda for decades.
To end each of their protests, Extinction Rebellion members lay on the ground to symbolize their imminent death and to highlight the danger of extinction.
Movements like Extinction Rebellion, like environmental movements in the past, certainly can have an impact, in my view, and they certainly can increase media coverage, which can certainly influence the political process. No doubt about that.
This whole question of climate change has been well covered by the media recently. If you look, say, at just Google searches for the term climate change from the UK, you find they're at an all-time high, and that's been brought about and coincides with, first of all, the release of the IPCC report, and secondly, with Extinction Rebellion. So on that sort of Google metric, that shows you that the word has got out through the media to people and has created this all-time interest.
On May 1st, the United Kingdom declared the environment a climate emergency, which was a significant step forward. However, the co-leader of the Scottish Green Party and member of the Scottish Parliament, Patrick Harvey, feels disseminating the message on climate change still needs improvement.
I think professional media, news media, need very clearly to be moving into the habit where they look at every issue from an environment and climate change perspective. Environment and climate change should not be seen as a separate topic to be discussed on kind of back pages or way down a news report, or treated as something that's kind of self-contained, a separate issue in a separate little box.
The clock is ticking to combat this global issue, so that means every media network is going to have to do their part, mainstream and alternative.
Your original question was, does the media cover it enough? So from what I've said, media coverage ebbs and flows. Sometimes there's a lot, sometimes there's very little. So I think, does it cover it enough? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.